Said I had one for Ireland, so I didn't get a chance to pull it out.
He did a fake tush push.
I love that.
I expect them to be better, but honestly, I feel like I'm a broken record.
We can't go into this without mentioning the fact that he did lose to the New York Giants.
I think he's a complete diva, honestly.
Being in London now for my third time, I'm excited to be here and I'm excited to, win this game Sunday.
Hello and welcome to Ain't That Our Ball. The NFL season is chugging along and we're hopping back across the pond for another international game. I'm David Scott. Alongside me is NFL expert Ryan Sanudo. Ryan, let's get this started.
Let's get started. We have plenty to talk to. Quarterback-driven league, so we're going to get to those guys.
All right, well, this week the NFL returns to London for an international game between the Minnesota Vikings and Cleveland Browns. And we have got a special treat for everyone this episode. Our correspondent, Sunni Upal, is on the ground at the Vikings training facility for an exclusive chat with superstar wide receiver Justin Jefferson. Sunni, what have you got for us?
Well, delighted to be joined now by Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson, one of the best players in the NFL. Justin, thank you for your time. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good, man. Just trying to be acclimated to this time zone, acclimated to being here for, going on. What day is it? 7? 6? I don't even know what day it is at this point. So just trying to, bond with my teammates as much as possible and trying to enjoy this as much as possible and, of course, get the dub at the end of the day.
Yeah, unique trip. You said you've been at day 6, 7 now. How have you found Dublin and your first few days in London?
It's been pretty cool. I feel like we had a great plan into, getting everybody acclimated to the time zone. And, of course, I had my few cups of coffee to keep me energized and to keep me caffeinated. But I feel like just, of course, bonding with the team and just being around the guys for this long of a time period is definitely great for us. We definitely feel like our team is already pretty, heavily bonded and well together. But, of course, being here away from family, away from friends, and kind of being stationary, you're able to kind of bond with those teammates a little bit more than normal. So I feel like it's been great. Of course, being in Ireland for the first time and being in London now for my third time, I'm excited to be here and I'm excited to, win this game Sunday.
Yeah, 2-2 to start the season. Justin, how have you summed up the first 4 weeks?
Yeah, different, I would say. Of course, just having our adversity of injuries and different people being in different positions and all that. But, I feel like our team is in a good spot. We understand the pros that we're doing. We understand the cons that we're doing. And we just trying to put everything together and understanding the formula for this team, for this offense, for this, defense. So I feel like it's a great transition. And 2-2 is a great start, but of course we got to kick it up a notch.
Yeah, one of those people missing you mentioned is Jordan Addison. How is it having him back on the field? What does that do for you for you as an offense?
Oh, it's great. I definitely love having him out there. He's definitely a talented player, a great player, and for him to be an option out there on that field is going to open up so much more for everyone else. Not only just me, but for the whole entire offense. So having him out there, having TJ, having JP in the backfield, all of these different guys out there on the field, C. Wentz can go anywhere with the ball and we can make something happen. So it's been great having him back and great having that, an extra person in there to help out.
Yeah, Cleveland Browns on Sunday. You seem to enjoy playing at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Can we see maybe a new celebration if you score again?
Yeah, I said I had one for Ireland, so I didn't get a chance to pull it out. So hopefully, I get in that end zone this time, and I'm able to, show the fans the gritty again.
The NFL's European slate in 2025 is bigger and better than ever. We have 6 games. It is now in full swing. It began last weekend over the Irish Sea at Croke Park Stadium in Dublin, where the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Minnesota Vikings 24-21 in the first game ever played in Ireland, and it was quite an occasion as well. The Vikings made the short trip over the Irish Sea earlier this week. They have become the first team to travel over the Atlantic and play 2 games in 2 separate locations. We've obviously had the Jacksonville Jaguars who played 2 games here in London before, but the Vikings have been based here since Monday at this place in Hanbury Manor, around an hour north of central London. 6 games, as I mentioned. After this weekend we have the Broncos and the Jets at the same stadium, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The following week the Los Angeles Rams take on the Jacksonville Jaguars at Wembley Stadium. Then we have a 2-week break. We have the first game ever in Berlin, where the Colts take on the Falcons. We've been in Germany before, but the first time going over to Berlin. And then the first ever NFL regular season game in Spain at the home of Real Madrid is the Miami Dolphins against the Washington Commanders. So let's get into this game more specifically then. The Vikings against the Browns, the 2-2 Minnesota Vikings against the 1-3 Cleveland Browns. We'll start with Cleveland, where the big news this week is they have officially switched quarterback. They have moved on from Joe Flacco, the 40-year-old veteran who won the Super Bowl, of course, with the Ravens. And rookie third-round draft pick Dillon Gabriel has taken the reins at quarterback. Really, the move was coming. Slightly surprised, if I'm honest, at the timing of the move. They've really not had a great schedule to start the year. It's hard to put really any blame on Joe Flacco for their start to the year. They are 1-3. Even their one win against the Packers, which is an impressive win, was delivered by their defensive unit. But they've started the year, as I said, with the Bengals, and then they've had the Ravens, and then they had the Lions. But the offensively, they just weren't going anywhere. Flacco has thrown 6 interceptions in 4 games. They haven't scored over 20 points in any of their games. So they've decided to make the move and see what they have in the rookie. It means the other rookie, Shedeur Sanders, still has to wait for his turn, but Dillon Gabriel is their starter. Key for the Browns this weekend, they are underdogs at Tottenham against the Vikings. The key will be their defensive unit, and specifically Myles Garrett, the pass rusher. Carson Wentz, the Vikings quarterback, was sacked 6 times in Dublin at the weekend. He unfortunately came up against TJ Watt, probably one of the top 3 pass rushers in the league, and now he has another probably top 3 pass rusher in the league chasing him down at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So if the Browns are to do anything, you think it will be their defensive unit that will deliver it for them. If the Vikings are after a good omen, well, they've won all 4 previous times they've played here in London, including one of those against the Browns 8 years ago. But bottom line, these London games are always great occasions, brilliant to have all the fans here, and hopefully one day, David and Ryan, we can feature them on your X's and O's show.
Thanks, Sunny. We'll be hearing more exclusives from Sunny throughout the international slate. For now, we're going to kick it back over stateside to the matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and Denver Broncos. Eagles get away with another close win last week. Jalen Hurts, not his best game, ugly second half. Let's talk about what he did right.
Well, what he did right was the first half. There was nothing in the second half, but the first half, he was getting clear completions to his receivers, and they were just moving the ball. The running back, Saquon Barkley was moving the ball. The offensive line was just manhandling that defensive line. In the first half, all things were systems go. And then the second half happened, and
Not good.
Then it was terrible. I mean, it was just brutal to watch. They had no completions in the second half. That can't happen. A.J. Brown was just doing cardio out there. There was nothing going on in the second half. So they're 4-0, but there's still plenty of issues with this offense. A.J. Brown has been getting targeted, but really little to nothing to show for. Devonta Smith really hasn't been getting things going. So I haven't really seen much from this Eagles offense. They're 31st in total offense.
Yeah, it feels like they're almost lucky to be getting away with 4-0. There's a real possibility that they could be 2-2 based on that Rams game and based on this Buccaneers game. Buccaneers made it close in the end, especially with how bad the offense was in the second half. We've talked about this before. This Eagles offense isn't as strong as we've seen it in the past. It's not the Super Bowl kind of team that we thought from, obviously they won it last year. I don't know. There's some issues with Jalen Hurts in the passing game, and we'll get further into that. What are you seeing maybe that gives you hope about this team rather than dismay about the team?
Well, the hope is whenever they get into the red zone, they score. I mean, they were just confusing Tampa Bay whenever they get to the red zone. They did a fake tush push, and
I love that.
That was beautiful.
That's genius.
That was beautiful. That was like picture perfect. And even like the little flip passes to Dallas Goedert twice. That confused the defense. But you got to get into the red zone first, and they have trouble doing that. They're the worst team, 3 and out rate in the NFL. They're the worst when it comes to that. So there's teams like the Titans that are in that category. So the Eagles, when they get into the red zone, great things happen. They need to get there, and they got to get Saquon involved. He really hasn't looked like last year Saquon. He really hasn't had those explosive plays like last year. They need to get the explosive plays with him.
Yeah, well, speaking of things that are not looking the same as last year, A.J. Brown is the big subject of conversation. Had another one of his classic wide receiver meltdowns over the weekend, some cryptic tweets, some comments in the locker room. The connection is just not there. He had one good game, and then everything else has just been and we're wondering, where is A.J. Brown going to fit into this offense? When is he going to become the wide receiver that we know he is? And you can say that for the whole receiving core of this team because they're just not getting it done. It probably starts with Jalen Hurts. But what do you make of this whole situation with A.J. Brown?
It's absolutely brutal. Okay, he entered the season with a little hamstring injury, so he didn't get too many targets first game. But the targets have been there the last couple weeks. but nothing has happened. He hasn't been catching the ball. I've been seeing effort issues too. Like I think he's a complete diva, honestly. I think he would even like say he's a diva, and that's what a wide receiver typically is in this NFL. There's things that he's got to get, straightened out, and I think effort is the first thing. There's balls that he should be catching that he's not catching that he would do in previous years. So it starts with effort. And then Jalen Hurts, he's got to find A.J. Brown. He just can't be a decoy if you want to continue to win. Yes, they're 4-0, but you're not always going to have to use Dallas Goedert. You need to use your elite weapons, and A.J. Brown is the guy. And once he gets that effort situation taken care of, I think the results will show. I want to see him downfield more and get connected with Jalen Hurts more.
Yeah, well, it's worth noting Jalen Hurts 0 for 8 passing in the second half of that Buccaneers game. A.J. Brown, obviously, no catches in the second half, barely anything in the first half of the game. Effort, chemistry, just anything. You could point in any direction as to what's going on here. The simple answer is it's not good. It's probably unacceptable for the coaching staff and for the front office is what they're seeing, and I'm sure they don't like the statements that are being made by Brown in the media. It's something to figure out and something to monitor as the season goes on, because if you don't get a top effort from your top wide receiver, that's not something that's going to take you far in the playoffs.
Yeah, the cryptic tweets, answers to the media, they've all been wrong answers with Brown. But we're not surprised. He did this last year. He's doing it this year. So they won a Super Bowl, great. They've won the first 4 games, great. But they should be better than what they are right now. And it's not acceptable for the Eagles and their standards. And they have the playmakers to back up performances that they should be doing. So I expect them to be better, but honestly, I feel like I'm a broken record. They got to get it done.
Yeah.
And against Denver will be tough. That is a really elite defense, in my opinion. Patrick Surtain's going to have to be guarded by, so that's going to be tough for him.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be another one of their big tests. And we'll start talking about the Broncos now because this is going to be a big test for them. Bo Nix, second-year quarterback, had a rough start to his season, broke out pretty well last week, but it was against a just dismantled Cincinnati defense. He's got a huge test against arguably the top defensive unit in the league. I'm a huge Bo Nix fan. I've been a Bo Nix supporter from the start. He's my fantasy quarterback. But this is going to be a huge just litmus test of, hey, is this Broncos offense legit? Because before the season, a lot of playoff aspirations. Some people thought this could be a deep playoff running team. Not great from the start. A lot of turnovers from Bo Nix. Defense has been mostly strong. Now you're going against what should be a top offensive unit and a top defensive unit. Let's start with Bo Nix. What does he need to do, or what has he done that's going to work well against the Eagles?
Well, you said it, turnovers. That was a key issue for Nix the first couple weeks of the season. One interception was terrible against Cincinnati. It was that 4th down. He really, didn't see the defender there. So those things can happen against the Eagles. I feel like they always find a way to get an interception when they need it the most. So he can't do that against Philly. But Bo Nix, I've seen good things for the most part. They were close in those losses, to the Colts. So I think Bo Nix, I do like him. The offensive line is great, so that helps him. But against that Eagles defense, they love to blitz. Vic Fangio loves to do that, so he's got to be worried about that. And he's got to just find a quick and easy throw. Courtland Sutton, him and Sutton have been a great connection. That's what I expected them to do this year, and sure enough, they'll be doing. So get it to Sutton, get it to your running backs. I like what Bo Nix has been doing, but this is a big test, like you said. This is a defense that is legit. The Eagles' defense is better than their offense, and he can't be turning the ball over.
Yeah, I think turnovers is absolutely key, just composure. Bo Nix really needs to just settle down. He's gotten a little scared, I think, at points. He's throwing the ball where it shouldn't go. He just needs to take the easy reads, find an open guy, or just get rid of the ball. It doesn't have to be forced anywhere. But also I think they need to rely on their running game. It's actually surprising that the Eagles' run defense is not as strong as it would have expected. They're actually in the bottom half of run defenses this year. And you've got a good two-headed monster in J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. R.J. Harvey kind of came into his own this last week. He's starting to get more of a role, and J.K. Dobbins has just been spectacular after his breakout year last year. It's going to be a question of who gets the ball or if they both get the ball, but I think they're going to get a lot of play in this game.
Oh, definitely. It's close to 50-50 with these guys now. I mean, Dobbins erupted from the get-go. He's got that veteran experience compared to, obviously, the rookie Harvey. But Sean Payton can just mix and match. He can just say, you know what, I want Harvey here. Oh, I want Dobbins here. And that confuses the Eagles defense. They don't know what to expect because they don't know who that next running back is going to be on the field. So the Broncos have a very nice tandem at running back. I think it's one of the best, if not the best, rushing attack in the NFL. And it starts with that offensive line. They just create so many holes for those running backs. So they got to get, first of all, they can't be down against the Eagles. If you're down, then that forces Bo Nix to be in, pass early situations. But if the Broncos get the ball early, run the football, make things easier for your quarterback so then he can do play action. And I really like that tandem.
Yeah, I think the running game's going to be key. And I honestly don't, I can see a world where this is a close game or even a Broncos win. I really do like the Broncos this year, no matter the struggles they've had early in the season. They're 2-2 now, but I think they could be better. They obviously lost to the Colts, which is not a great loss because the Colts are still a question mark, even though they've been pretty strong to start the season. I could see this being a really fun game. I really am interested in how the running backs are used in this game. And yeah, Bo Nix, just keep it composed. Don't get too crazy. It's the Eagles. You got to be smart.
And by the way, every game they've been outgained in yards. That's the thing. It's so annoying with this team. When you look at this team, they should be better than what they are. They're not, and they still end up winning these games. So a lot of fans that aren't Eagles fans hate this, but Eagles fans have to love it because they just find ways. 10-game winning streak dating back to last year, and I expect 11th for the Eagles.
Yeah, we'll see if the Broncos can pull off the upset, but we'll move on to another matchup here, the Commanders versus the Chargers. This is a fun game, a battle between two really good quarterbacks. But first of all, we're going to see likely the return of Jayden Daniels. Got a bit of a knee tweak earlier in the season. He might wear a knee brace as he comes into this game. They've been lacking on offense without him. Their running game has been there a bit. The passing game is not there. They still have some question marks at wide receiver. But the fact of the matter is this is a much better team when Jayden Daniels is on the field.
Oh, Jayden Daniels, he's an elite quarterback in this league. And when he's on the field, all bets are off. You don't know what he's going to do with that football. And it's always mostly going to be a good thing, obviously. Getting him back is crucial. Mariota, I don't think he was that bad, but he's no Jayden Daniels. He's no Jayden Daniels, and you didn't have McLaurin against the Falcons, and there was just no identity.
They really need someone to take over. I think we've seen in the last 2 weeks that they need a guy to really just put the team on his back right now, just with the injury struggles that they're facing. I don't think their defense is all that strong. They need a guy like we saw last year with Jayden Daniels that just say, get on me, we're going. Like, I'm going to take this team down the field. I'm going to get us the score. Like, he can do whatever he wants when he's under control of this offense. He's a great passer. We know the rushing ability is there. And when you don't see that, it feels like you're missing out during NFL Sunday because I want to see Jayden Daniels on the field. I want to see the crazy things that he can do. Going up against a tough Chargers defense, but he's Jayden Daniels. I hope he's just fine.
He is Jayden Daniels, but I don't like that McLaurin might not play in this game. His favorite target other than Zach Ertz. So if he's not playing, I think the Chargers find a way because that Chargers defense is good. They haven't allowed more than 21 points in a game yet. So the Chargers are at home. I know it doesn't really matter that home. They barely have any fans.
Yeah, SoFi Stadium is not the best.
But yeah, the Chargers are coming off a loss. Washington as well. I'm more worried about that Commanders defense. That Commanders defense really hasn't wowed me at all. In fact, I've been very disappointed with that defense. Marcus Lattimore doesn't look the same. There really hasn't been any pressure on the quarterback. Michael Penix was just toying with that defense, and they know it too. And we're going to get to the Chargers offense, but the Commanders offense, I have no worries with Jayden Daniels, but it's a tough Chargers defense. And then McLaurin, I'm a little iffy with the Commanders.
Yeah, so let's talk about that Commanders defense because Justin Herbert is coming on the field, and we know that he is one of the top quarterbacks in the league. He's established himself pretty much as a top 5 talent now. We can't go into this without mentioning the fact that he did lose to the New York Giants last week. and that is something that you don't look at lightly. The New York Giants, albeit a lot more exciting with Jackson Dart on the field, you don't want to be losing a game to them. Now, Justin Herbert had, I would say, his worst performance of the year. When Herbert's off, that offense is not going.
First of all, the offensive tackles are out. Slater, Joe Alt is going to be out. So I think that's why you saw the Chargers being impacted by that. And plus, the Giants' pass rush is only one of the best in the league with Carter, et cetera. So that put a lot of pressure on the Chargers. And the Giants, they had that Jackson Dart energy. They wanted to get things going. They were 0-3. So even though I thought the Chargers would win that game, they just didn't look good, obviously, like you said, on offense. So Quentin Johnston, he's been a guy that would always have the dropsies in the first couple years of his career. And now you're not seeing that. He's a deep threat. intermediate passes as well. He's been a reliable target for Herbert. And Keenan Allen, I mean, he's only a veteran. He's a potential Hall of Famer, too, with his stats. And he's shown that he can be that guy that he was with the Chargers way back in the day, that you didn't see when he was with the Bears. And Ladd McConkey, I know he's had a little bit of disappointment the first couple games. The target share really hasn't been there for him. But we know what we saw last year, just the way he's slippery, the way he just evades tackles. So I think we can see McConkey have a better game in this game. And Herbert, the weapons that he has are just endless, I think. So, and I think that's a contrast to the Commanders where they might not have McLaurin in this game. So the Chargers, they got the weapons, Hampton, out of the backfield. They love to do the screens too. So the Chargers, I think, will find a way, and it's because of those weapons.
Yeah, it's certainly going to come down to the pass catchers. I think the secondary is the huge weak point in this Commanders defense. And just the breakout year of Quentin Johnston, which nobody saw coming after the start to his career. Keenan Allen is back and looks like vintage Keenan Allen. Maybe it was just that he loves the Chargers and he didn't want to be a Bear. And yeah, Ladd McConkey's been lagging behind a bit, but we saw the kind of talent that he is last year, and I'm sure perhaps he's just taking a step back in the offense because of the return of Keenan Allen. But he's a great player. They have wonderful pass catchers there. Justin Herbert's got a lot to work with against a not-so-good secondary. You could see a lot of firepower here, and you could see some fireworks because I could see some deep playability here.
Definitely, and they've been throwing the football like crazy this year. I think they're first in terms of like pass attempts this year, or up there. So that's a total opposite from last year. They were just very conservative last year. This year, all bets are off when it comes to Greg Roman. He's throwing the football, and I expect a really great game from Johnston against those corners, like you said, Allen as well. And Hampton, you can sprinkle him a little bit too. Hampton really stepped up, and he flashed against the Giants. So they're well-rounded, the Chargers, just that offensive line. But Herbert, I trust in this game. Daniels as well in terms of the Commanders, but I think the Chargers have more on that offense to get things going. I think I see Chargers winning this in a close one, too.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be all that difficult for the Chargers. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Ain't That Our Ball. You can catch us every Thursday, and every Monday you can catch our tactics show X's and O's. Please leave a like and subscribe, and comment who you think is going to win this week's London game.